CTV News with Maya Johnson.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. It is a somber anniversary for the family and former colleagues of a fallen police officer. It's been 30 years since André Lalonde was shot and killed during a routine traffic stop in Seneville. His killer still hasn't been brought to justice. Today, a ceremony was held in Lalonde's honor. Matt Gilmore was there.
A solemn march to the place where one of their own was shot down 3 decades ago. At the front of the procession, the family of Officer André Lalonde, killed just 2 months before his retirement.
Le fait que nous soyons réunis aujourd'hui.
For his son Patrick, it proves all these years later his father's sacrifice has not been forgotten. On April 29, 1996, Lalonde was patrolling in the quiet West Island town of Seneville. At around 10 a.m., he pulled over a car with a broken muffler. As he approached the vehicle, the driver, without provocation, fired 3 shots at Lalonde, fatally wounding him. His son remembers being pulled from his CEGEP class and rushed to the hospital.
They drive so fast to come from Sainte Thérèse to Lakeshore, Hospital Lakeshore. So what's wrong? Where we go? They didn't want to tell me.
Lalonde's wife, Nicole, says he wasn't supposed to work that day. He was called in last minute, and she says he answered the call happily. He was that kind of guy.
His character was a nice man, and he always make joke and sing, and yes.
A passionate and committed police officer who was well liked by the community he served and still had big plans.
We cried a lot. All the family.
Lalonde's partner, Gérald Labbé, wasn't with him the moment he was shot, but remembers responding to the call.
Je suis arrivé le deuxième, ici, il y avait déjà un auto qui était ici avec 2 gars qui essayaient de réanimer mon confrère.
2 officers were already performing CPR when he arrived. He says it was tragic to see his friend that way. Today, there's a stone plaque at the corner of Elmwood and Seneville honoring Lalonde. It's been adorned with flowers by friends, family, and local residents. Despite the time that's passed, the family has never truly gotten closure. The killer's car was discovered burned out later that day, but he was never brought to justice.
I hope that at some day, somehow, he's gonna speak himself and he's gonna raise his hand. Okay, I'm done and I did it. That's gonna close the story for me, but this is still open in my head at some place.
In the meantime, they work to keep Lalonde's memory alive. Fallen, but not forgotten. Matt Gilmore, CTV News.
And in Montreal today, there was a funeral for a Sûreté du Quebec police officer who died last month in a head-on collision. Anaïs Fortin-Cousins was given a full honor guard and official homage at her funeral at Mary Queen of the World Cathedral. The 36-year-old wife and mother was killed March 31st. A pickup truck veered into the wrong lane and struck her vehicle on Route 138 on Quebec's Côte-Nord. There are security and safety concerns in Dorval. Some commuters and residents are worried about crime in the area. Last week, 2 men were stabbed near the Dorval train station. Mac Grillo has more.
At the Dorval bus terminus, transit users will tell you they don't always feel safe.
At night, I wouldn't want to be a woman alone.
It is a concern, you know. I don't like to live that way. I try to be very independent. I want to go where I want to go, but it is in the back of my mind.
Just meters away, the nearby Dorval train station was the scene of a double stabbing on Friday. Although Dorval Mayor Marc Doré says crime has decreased in recent years.
We as a community can maybe do other things. We've talked about more security, public security in Dorval. There's a cost to our residents, but maybe that's where we have to go.
Next to the Dorval train station is a warming space run by Ajoie, a West Island outreach organization. It's a necessary resource, says Ajoie's executive director.
The needs were growing in that area, but not only in that area, everywhere in the West Island, there's a need for more services.
She adds that safety and security is a shared issue with the city and police. Ajoie will be putting more resources into the warming station.
The additional resources will be an additional outreach street worker for Dorval and additional staff at the station.
Do we have to rethink it? I don't think we have to rethink it. Could we do things differently and speak with our partners? Absolutely, we can have that discussion.
Some are not worried for their own safety, but rather those of vulnerable people.
I'm worried for the safety of people who are in precarious situations, and we need more funding for that.
In a statement, Montreal Police said the incident that occurred last Friday is considered an isolated incident. At this point, no station users or local residents have been victim of similar violent incidents. We recognize, however, that certain acts of incivility can contribute to a perception of insecurity, and we take these concerns very seriously. Police say they conduct patrols of this area day and night, just one part of an approach to ensure safety for commuters and residents. Matt Grillo, CTV News.
A former basketball coach at École Secondaire Saint-Laurent was sentenced to 9 years in prison today. The 35-year-old was found guilty of sexually exploiting a student. Today's sentencing comes 4 years after 3 educators from the school were arrested. Stéphane Giroux explains.
Robert Lou was sentenced to 9 years behind bars following a lengthy trial. The prosecution argued Lou groomed, then abused his 12-year-old victim in a school setting, where trust is key.
And when people like Mr. Lou abuse of that situation, it warrants for heavier sentences.
The victim was not in court for sentencing, but the judge heard her impact statement in which she describes the pain and suffering she still deals with a decade after the events. These events took place at a crucial moment in my development as a person and as a woman, the victim wrote. It left a lasting imprint on my identity and my relationship with others. Justice Patricia Campagnon says she accepted a joint submission from the Crown and the defense for the prison term.
So the Crown and I pretty much worked together on this to establish what are the aggravating factors, what are the mitigating factors, so that we give an appropriate and fit sentence. That is what our justice system requires. My client still maintains his innocence today. I have no further comment.
The prosecution said Lou doesn't show any remorse and continues to claim he's the victim of a conspiracy. A second accused, Charles-Xavier Boilard, was sentenced to 4 years behind bars earlier this year. The prosecution says many factors justified different sentences.
Mr. Boilard, for one thing, pled guilty. He pled guilty to the accusations that were pressed against him. Mr. Lou didn't, and it's his choice. But we had to hold a trial, and the duration and the frequency of the abuse was different as well.
A third coach, Daniel Lacasse, was acquitted after the judge found reasonable doubt that his relationship with a teenage girl began after she turned 18. Stéphane Giroux, CTV News.
There's a push to stay a deportation for a Mexican man whose stepson is facing serious medical conditions. The lawyer for the family says the man is the only source of income for the family, who have another child on the way, and he would be at risk of facing violence back home. A community advocate who works with the family adds there's been a rise in these kinds of family separation deportations in recent years.
It's really hard to describe the weight of the uncertainty and the possibility that they're going to be torn apart. It's absolutely horrible. It's dreadful, even for me. And of course, I'm not impacted by it, only as a lawyer. It's terrible. It's really soul crunching. The weight, the prospect of being separated, but maybe not. You know, the uncertainty is really killing them.
We should never split apart families. So we are seeing a new tendency with the border agency to put in motion removals that separate families. This is something that should not happen in Canada, and it is for sure in an increase at the moment.
The lawyer filed a stay in federal court today. The man is set to be deported on May 12th. Three major Quebec health associations are concerned about menopause care. They're reminding health professionals to follow best practices. Sweeta Rassi has that story.
It's a growing conversation, says Marie-Josée Bourassa, the founder of Menopause Clinic. Women across Quebec are speaking up about menopause.
Women are really advocating for their health more and more, and menopause has always been somewhat of a taboo.
And while it may have been taboo, demand for hormone therapy is rising, and so are concerns about how it's being prescribed. Quebec's College of Physicians, the Nurses Order, and the Order of Pharmacists issued a joint statement, reminding health professionals to follow ethical best practices, such as relying on scientific evidence and using products approved by Health Canada. The college tells CTV News inspections have identified doctors prescribing unapproved treatments. Bourassa says it's a good reminder for all.
I see more a message behind it saying being aware, keeping up to date with your education to provide the proper care for the women in the communities.
She adds treating menopause is anything but simple. According to the Canadian Menopause Society, many women suffer in silence. Plus, there's a lack of support. Bourassa's advice is to come prepared.
With regards to almost journaling what's happening, what has happened with her menstrual cycle, what has happened with her symptoms. Is she sleeping? Is her mood feeling an ability to auto-regulate? Is she feeling stiff? Is she having pains and aches left, right, and center?
The three associations are also calling out unnecessary blood tests. It warns against promoting one brand of medication over another, and it's reminding health professionals to make sure consent is given before treatment begins. Bourassa says the most important thing
no, there's no cookie cutter recipe for menopause
is making sure the patient is listened to. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
The College of Physicians says Quebec has 350 more doctors than 1 year ago. The total number of doctors is 26,775, the fourth consecutive year of an increase. That said, the number of working physicians dropped in the Gaspé, Lower St. Lawrence, and Abitibi regions. The biggest increase is here in Montreal, where there are almost 8,000 doctors. The provincial government is cutting taxes for small and medium-sized businesses from 3.2 to 2.2%. The change will affect about 75,000 companies in Quebec. Premier Christine Fréchette says she hopes this will help small businesses stay competitive during a difficult time.
A year ago, I was fearing a true catastrophe in our economy because we were not knowing what was coming. And 1 year after, I can see that, well, it could be better, but it could have been much worse. And so it is not the catastrophe that I had anticipated, which is a good thing. Our governmental programs must have helped.
Well, on paper, the Montreal Canadiens and the Tampa Bay Lightning are almost perfectly matched, and the series, of course, is tied 2-2. So both teams are looking to take the series lead tonight. Olivia O'Malley joins us live from Maclean's, where it is evidently quite loud. Olivia, all signs pointing to the Habs' most senior player joining the team again on the ice.
Maya, it is likely that Brendan Gallagher will be back in the lineup tonight. The forward was a healthy scratch in the first 4 games of the series. He was not on the ice for the optional morning skate today, which would suggest that he will be back on the ice tonight. Here's CSN 690's play-by-play commentator, Victor Finlay.
Everything points to Oliver Kapanen sitting out, and he is not sit out at all this year. In fact, he's played every single game up to this point for Montreal. And Brendan Gallagher is going through his routine as though he's playing tonight. So if Gallagher is in and Kapanen is out, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to see a different look in the top 6 for Montreal, but I think it could signify here that Marty St. Louis is shaking things up a little bit, because the bottom 6 has been relatively good here for the Habs in terms of 5-on-5 production. The issue for them so far through 4 games is that even strength, they've got 0 goals from their top 6.
Head coach Martin St. Louis, however, would not confirm if Gallagher is in the lineup or not tonight.
Yeah, there's no doubt if he plays. I mean, he's going to give you everything he has. I think he does that every game.
you know. Everybody goes through different challenges throughout their end of their career. That's for everybody. But, the fact that you've had those challenges is actually a privilege because it shows how long you've been around.
Fans have been arriving at McLean's Pub on Peel Street to snag a table for the last 2 hours or so, and the tables are few and far in between. They say they're looking forward to the pregame skate to find out if Gallagher is lacing up for his first postseason game of the year.
I'm pretty sure that we might have that beautiful team up where Suzuki passes to Gallagher to score the goal.
A little more grit, a little more sandpaper. I think that's what his style is like. So I'm hoping it's going to make a big change for tonight.
Puck drops in just under 1 hour as the Habs look to take on this tight series, as you mentioned, Maya, as the series is tied 2-2. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Olivia. Enjoy the game. That's Olivia O'Malley reporting live for us from downtown. Well, the Habs aren't the only team in playoff mode, of course. The Montreal Victoire play the Minnesota Frost at Place Belle Saturday afternoon in the first round of the PWHL playoffs. And the Laval Rocket are on the ice at Place Belle tonight. They open their best-of-5 second-round series against the Toronto Marlies. The Rocket got a first-round bye as the top team in the North Division, and puck drop is at 7 o'clock tonight. Coming up, holding steady.
The best thing to do today is maintain the policy interest rate where it is.
But the Bank of Canada is warning Canadians to brace themselves for what could be coming next. Plus, a Montrealer who was at the White House Correspondents' dinner shares his first-hand account of the chaos. The last remaining volunteer of a safety patrol group in Old Montreal is calling it quits. He says drug use, vandalism, and shoplifting are growing problems in the neighborhood, and he also says increasingly police aren't showing up. Angela McKenzie reports.
As he makes his way along Rue Notre Dame, John Kennedy is checking for safety issues and making a few friends along the way. He's part of a volunteer community patrol started by a group of Old Montreal residents during the pandemic.
It was just the residents' way of protecting the neighborhood and keeping things safe.
But now he's the only volunteer left. Attempts to recruit others have been difficult. Kennedy has seen it all. Drug deals and drug use, attempted break-ins and shoplifting.
Public intoxication, public nudity, minor assaults like spitting.
As a volunteer, all he can really do is flag issues to the authorities. But he says police aren't showing up the way they used to.
Our senior police officer said that the people of Old Montreal and the businesses in Old Montreal simply have to get used to the new reality of Old Montreal and the minor crimes that happen, and that the police aren't going to be able to respond to everything.
So now Kennedy is shutting down the group. This will be one of his last patrols.
It's just not safe for me to be out here.
Shop owner Arun Srivastava says for decades an officer patrolled the area on foot.
He knew all the owners and he took care of him. He monitored the traffic. There was never an issue here. Over the year, police kind of got rid of that.
Kennedy says the new city administration has been very supportive. Fiona Ham, who heads the neighborhood association, agrees.
Mental health is a national issue. Quebec needs to realize that.
In an email, the SPVM writes, the situation in that area as described by Mr. Kennedy does not match the complaints and reports received. Adding, it should be noted the SPVM has never had a specific relationship with the Old Montreal Community Patrol. Kennedy believes Old Montreal deserves an increased police presence with more officers patrolling on foot.
When your car gets broken into or you get spit on by somebody or your purse gets stolen, that's not good for tourism. It's not good for the economy of Montreal. It's not good for our reputation.
Though any change here will have to come with one less person keeping watch. Angela McKenzie, CTV News.
Well, as expected, the Bank of Canada kept its benchmark interest rate steady at 2.25%. Governor Tiff Macklem says he's monitoring global events closely along with inflation. and he laid out possible scenarios that Canada could be facing. Annie Bergeron-Oliver reports.
At Parkview Moving, the high cost of gas is making it harder and harder to run a profitable business, offering short and long-haul moves.
It's very difficult, and we don't want to pass that extra burden or cost on to our clients, so we're absorbing a lot of that cost ourselves.
And they're not alone. The war in Iran is driving up oil prices and squeezing both Canadian businesses and consumers. That spike, a main reason the Bank of Canada now sees inflation peaking at 3% this month and staying elevated until early next year when it's projected to return to 2%.
The best thing to do today is maintain the policy interest rate where it is. But I will stress that there is no risk-free path for the policy interest rate.
The bank decided to hold rates steady for now, but admits a lot could change in the coming months. If oil prices stay around $100 a barrel, consecutive rate hikes could be needed. At the same time, the bank says if new U.S. tariffs or trade restrictions are put in place, cuts may be needed to stimulate the economy.
The bank is committed to ensuring that Canadians continue to have confidence in price stability through this period of global upheaval.
So what does this all mean for anyone in the market for a new home? Mortgage experts say now may be the time to lock in a rate.
You can't time the market. The best bet for borrowers right now is to take out a rate hold and a pre-approval, because at least that way you have secured access to whatever today's rate pricing currently is.
With the potential for rate hikes already floated because of high oil prices, many real estate experts say now may be the time the housing market starts to heat up, with more buyers jumping off the sidelines. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
A South Korean company is promising to make armored battle vehicles in Canada if it's awarded the contract to build submarines for the Royal Canadian Navy. Hanwha would build K-9 howitzer vehicles and weapon systems in Canada. Ottawa had asked both Hanwha and German competitor TKMS to sweeten their bids for the submarine contract, which has an estimated value of up to $100 billion. A final decision on the supplier is expected in June. The Iran war is now entering its 9th week with no clear end in sight. Early this morning on Truth Social, U.S. President Donald Trump posted this image with the slogan, "No more Mr. Nice Guy." Trump added they don't know how to sign a non-nuclear deal and they better get smart soon. The post comes as the fragile ceasefire grows more uncertain. Trump called off the last round of peace talks with Tehran. Police in the UK have declared the stabbing of 2 Jewish men in London a terrorism incident. Security cameras captured the moment the attacker, armed with a knife, lunges at a man waiting at a bus stop. Both victims are in stable condition. Police arrested a man on attempted murder charges.
What transpired was he came outside the synagogue of Haggers on Highfield Avenue and he started stabbing someone outside there, then went on down Golders Green Road and he continued stabbing an elderly gentleman, visibly Jewish, and he went after him, pushed him over and started stabbing him repeatedly.
There's been a recent spate of arson attacks on synagogues and other Jewish sites in London. King Charles and Queen Camilla made a solemn stop today at the National 9/11 Memorial and Museum in New York City. As part of their state visit, the royal couple laid some flowers at Ground Zero to honor the nearly 3,000 lives lost in the September 11th attacks. They met with families of the victims and first responders involved in the rescue efforts. And we now know just how much the King and Queen's visit to Canada last May cost Canadian taxpayers. According to data obtained by CTVnews.ca, the bill for the 24-hour trip to Ottawa was just over $2.6 million. The lion's share went to the Department of National Defence, just under $1.3 million. That included more than $860,000 for a ceremonial Air Force flyover. Prime Minister Mark Carney invited the King to open the new session of Parliament with a speech from the throne. Still to come, taking care of your tires.
We've seen people put their tires on and then come in here and it's like something's not right.
The small mistakes that can lead to big problems on the road. There's more information today on the man charged with trying to storm the White House Correspondents' dinner and assassinate President Donald Trump. According to a new court filing, Cole Allen took a selfie in his hotel room minutes before the shooting, posing with his weapons. Trump and hundreds of journalists were at the Washington Hilton at this black tie event on Saturday night. Among the guests, a Montrealer who found himself in the middle of the chaos alongside CNN anchor Wolf Blitzer. Blitzer reported from the hotel in the minutes after the shooting and was interviewed by his colleagues the next morning. Let's take a look.
It was just a coincidence that I happened to have been there walking back to the ballroom when all of this took place. And it was just a frightening moment indeed.
What did you witness and what happened?
It was really, really scary. And I've been in war situations and I've had Scud missiles flying over me, but this was, I was so close to this shooter. After the first chorus, which was a good salad, I had to go to the men's room. So I walked out. You walk out the back doors, you know, of this huge ballroom. You walk up one flight of stairs and you go to the men's room. As I'm leaving the men's room to come back to the ballroom, all of a sudden to my left, I hear gunshots, boom, boom, really loud. I mean, it was so loud, it was awful. I was only a few feet away, maybe 3, 4, 5 feet away from the gunman.
No doubt a surreal experience for everyone who was there, and that includes our next guest, Montrealer Jack Fattal. Mr. Fattal, thank you for joining us.
Maya Johnson, thank you for having me.
Well, what a story you have. We're going to just start by getting a bit into your background. You're a lawyer. You split your time between Canada and the U.S. You're now back in Montreal from Washington. So just tell us first off, how did you end up with an invitation to the White House Correspondents' Dinner?
Well, Maya, I have to say it was kind of surreal. You know, a client of mine that, you know, I work extensively with decided to invite me to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And, you know, the rest is history.
Yeah, that's the kind of invitation you don't turn down. So just describe for us what it was like being there before all the chaos broke out.
It was surreal because you really had a chance, if you were outgoing, to speak with anybody and everybody. I mean, the who's who of America was in that room. You know, I have pictures. That's Kash Patel you're looking at. That's, of course, the UFC founder, Dana White. You know, it was incredible meeting him. He's one of a kind. He's very down to earth. We spoke for about 5 minutes. And then 15 minutes after those pictures were taken is when I had gone to the washroom. Happy to talk about what happened and how it happened.
Well, yeah. Okay, so before we get into that, we just want to show, you know, some of the video that you took. So we heard Wolf Blitzer describing his experience. He left the ballroom to go to the men's room. It just so happened, as you just mentioned, that you were in the men's room too, and that's when the shots rang out. You captured the moments immediately after on video. So let's take a look at the video that you took.
What on earth is going on?
It was like 4 shots.
So someone had a gun.
Okay? Yeah.
What did you see, Mr. Blitzer?
I just heard a bunch of shots. Yeah.
You heard a bunch of shots?
Right near me. Yeah. Right next to me.
Oh my God. So we're being held in the bathroom because there's this guy with a gun running wild.
Somebody came in with a gun? They got him. Hey, someone give me a head
But
count.
thank God they just caught the guy taken care of.
Okay, so I have to tell you, I've seen that video a number of times, you know, in preparing for this interview. 2 things strike me. First of all, you seem very calm. And secondly, you're not a reporter, but you definitely had the instincts of a reporter in that moment. I don't know if you were influenced because you were in a space full of journalists, but you immediately took out your phone and started recording.
Well, I had a feeling that something big was going on. And in the initial moments, I wasn't sure, right? I was actually the last person to enter the bathroom before, you know, Wolf Blitzer had basically lounged for the bathroom, missing a shoe because he was getting shot at. So had I entered the bathroom 15 seconds earlier, or sorry, 15 seconds later, I would have gotten shot at. So thank God that didn't happen.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing your story with us, and of course, glad that you're safe.
Thank you, Maya.
The families of the shooting victims in Tumbler Ridge, BC are suing OpenAI and its CEO Sam Altman, likely for more than $1 billion. Lawsuits launched in U.S. federal court allege the company identified the shooter as a credible threat 8 months before the attack, but didn't warn police. 9 people, including the 18-year-old shooter, were killed in the attack in February. The minister in charge of AI says the government is looking into how to protect Canadians.
We are pursuing from our end to make sure that citizens are protected. This is why the AI Safety Institute is currently, as I said, working with OpenAI to assess their safety protocols. And as I said, all options are on the table.
OpenAI has denied the claims in the lawsuits, arguing the shooter had a long history of mental illness.
Weather brought to you by Gratian Scaff. Second pair is a gift event including designer frames. A second pair free for a limited time.
Well, your umbrella is certainly going to come in handy over the next 24 hours. We're expecting rain tonight into tomorrow, and despite the size of the system, we're not seeing nearly as much rain as other parts of the province, and this has Environment and Climate Change Canada issuing a rainfall warning that is in effect for parts of the province, including Outaouais, as well as the Laurentians. They could see anywhere between 20 to 40 millimeters of rain, and in Quebec City, they're expecting anywhere between 30 and 50 millimeters of rain. If we put our futurecast into motion now, we get a preview of this system that is going to be impacting us in pretty much imminently, and it's quite large, and we're going to see it into the early morning hours. There could be heavier rainfall at times, and it continues pretty much until around noon. It looks like the majority of that system is eastwards. Quebec City still going to be seeing rain at that time, and then Montreal is holding on to cloudy skies. We are on the edge of that system, so there is a chance that there could be a passing shower or so into the afternoon, but it's looking most likely like we'll be holding on to clouds into the evening, and then we start to see some clearing, and that is ahead of Friday, where we're expecting a mix of sun and clouds, so a little bit more sunshine in our forecast. On top of all that, well, our temperatures are going to be dipping into tomorrow. Tonight, we hold on to some of the warmth that we've been seeing over the past couple of days. 9 degrees is what we're seeing, and 10 to 20 millimeters once again is what we could be expecting, and we will also be dealing with winds gusting up to 40 kilometers an hour. They will increase in the early morning hours up to 50, and once again 2 millimeters of rain on top of the 10 to 20 overnight. 11 will be our daytime high. Typically we're around 15 this time of year. Once the rain passes through, we'll be holding on to cloudy skies. Our longer range forecast is somewhat promising. We'll see some sunshine over the weekend, and our temperatures will return above seasonal next week with some more rain in the forecast. And now we have a lotto reminder for you. On tonight's Lotto 649 draw, you could win $36 million. Good luck.
Most Quebec drivers have probably already switched to their summer tires, and if you did the tire change yourself, you should make sure you did it properly. Police are sharing stories about tires falling off on the highway. Hannah Schmidt reports.
With summer on the horizon, it's one of the busiest times of year for tire shops.
So very busy with tire changes. It's been go, go, go.
But experts say rushing the job can come at a cost. Add potholes, worn parts, and quick turnarounds into the mix, and mechanics say they're seeing more problems roll into the shop.
We've seen people put their tires on and then come in here and it's like something's not right.
Some of the things that happen is collisions, damage to vehicles. People are stranded in live lanes of traffic because their wheels have come off.
Police say it happens every spring, and this one is no exception. Tires coming loose, and in some cases, breaking free.
They might not be torqued properly or installed properly. We experience a lot of wheel-offs on our 400 series highways.
A loose tire isn't just a breakdown. It can turn into a fast-moving hazard.
If your wheel, does come off your vehicle and it is skipping down the road, motorists could be charged with an HTA offense, Highway Traffic Act offense of detached part. Fines can range from $100 to $1,000 for that incident.
Wrong parts, improper installs, or just rushing through the process. Experts say even small mistakes can lead to big problems.
Also, it's important to use the proper techniques. So that is the star formation, for example. So you kind of go top, bottom, across. That helps distribute that torquing evenly across the tire.
A follow-up check after a tire swap, recommended after about 50 to 100 kilometers, is one of the simplest ways to stay safe, but it's also one of the most overlooked.
They don't fit right and then they come loose. Make sure that your tire fits flat on the hub. Make sure the back of the rim is clean. Make sure the face of the hub is clean, and then make sure you torque everything.
Hannah Schmidt, CTV News, Kitchener.
Still ahead, a Canadian moment at a hockey game in Boston.
Oh, Canada, our home and native.
A faulty microphone and the fans who made up for it. Plus, a generic version of a popular weight loss drug approved by Health Canada.
Menswear provided by Ernest. Elevate your style with Ernest. Your Health, brought to you by Gratianscaf. Second pair is a gift event including designer frames. A second pair free for a limited time.
Canada is the first G7 country to approve a generic version of Ozempic and its sister drug, Wegovy. Now, many are looking at what this approval will mean for those living with diabetes and obesity. Geneviève Beauchemin reports.
Months after Ozempic's patent expired, Health Canada has given a generic the go-ahead. And the approval of India's Dr. Reddy Laboratories' copy has been applauded by many patients and advocates.
And there hasn't been a whole lot of options available.
Obesity Canada's Eaton Patton says for him, semaglutides have been life-changing.
I had this voice in the back of my head always chirping at me, talking about with that uncontrollable food drive. And having a treatment that allows me to gain control has been very, very impactful.
Like Ozempic, says Health Canada, the generic injection is indicated for the once-weekly treatment of adults with type 2 diabetes. But around 3 million Canadian adults currently take medication like Ozempic for diabetes and obesity. Still, doctors say some patients who would benefit steer clear because of money. The drug costs about $228 a month. Health Canada says many generic medications are 45 to 90% cheaper than the brand versions. And that price could go down with more generics on the market. Health Canada is reviewing 8 other submissions. That could also reduce expenses for provincial and private drug plans deciding to cover the generic. Approval comes after an extensive review of the generic's chemical composition and effects, but does not require manufacturers to do long-term effect studies, for instance, on heart attacks and strokes.
Based on the assumption that if it looks the same, it has the same biochemical properties, it's chemically the same drug, it should have the same long-term effects.
Experts applaud accessibility, but also warn against minimizing potential side effects.
This is a drug. It's not a candy. It's not a supplement. It is a medication.
The generic dosage approved now is for the treatment of diabetes, but advocates are watching to see what other generics will come and what the impact will be on the costs. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
Patients at the MUHC will no longer be able to book their blood tests by phone. Starting May 1st, appointments can only be made online via Clic Santé. The MUHC explains it's an effort to improve access, but admits some patients, especially seniors, feel more comfortable booking on the phone. It says it will be putting measures in place to assist them, but the MUHC Users Committee has already received complaints that online spots are full.
I have to say it bluntly, but it's already hell for patients with the Clic Santé. A lot of patients don't have internet access, so it's difficult for them. And if you have access, you go on the site, everything is full for the whole month. I think it's easier to go and have a ticket to see Céline Dion in Paris.
The MUHC says it will be able to move the employees who answered the phone calls to other administrative jobs.
Business News, brought to you by Au Vieux de Louvre.
where memories and meals come together.
4 of the biggest American companies, Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft, reported their earnings today. Here's Marella Fernandez.
These are the companies investing billions of dollars into artificial intelligence. Their earnings are an indication of whether those investments are paying off. Meta reported it is once again raising the amount it will spend on its AI build-out this year. The social media company projects it will spend between $125 and $145 billion US. It is paying more for components than its competitors since it's late to the AI race. Investors didn't like the news, sending the stock down in after-hours trading. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar not changed much. It's at 73.08. West Texas Intermediate up almost $7 to 106.88. Western Canadian Select up over $3 to 78.34. And the TSX lost 265 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marella Fernandez.
A new art exhibit at the Hevel Fine Art Auction House has opened. It features works owned by Quebec songwriter Luc Plamondon. Plamondon's art collection has a strong emphasis on leading Quebec artists, including Marcel Ferron, Guido Molinari, and Claude Toussignan. Plamondon says he collected the works at significant moments in his life and adds that seeing them passed on to another generation of art collectors is entirely fitting.
The exhibition includes works from the collection of Luc Plamondon, famous songwriter who wrote songs for many artists, including Céline Dion, and other works from different collections such as Riopelle, Colville, E.J. Hughes, Emily Carr, and many others.
The art is for sale, but the exhibit is free at the Hevel Fine Art Auction House on Sherbrooke Street West until May 4th. Well, a very Canadian moment broke out in the stands in Buffalo ahead of the Sabres playoff game against Boston last night.
Oh, Canada, our home and native, hatred, love.
Well, as you can see, fans helped sing "Oh Canada" as the mic kept cutting out before the puck dropped for Game 5. The Sabres lost in overtime, but lead the series 3-2. And time to check in now with Caroline. So, Caroline, what have you got for us tonight?
Well, Maya, we're going to hear from country singer Paul Brandt, who is in Montreal for a summit on human trafficking. Brandt has become a spokesperson against this crime after he learned of a young victim 20 years ago while he was on a trip to Cambodia. We'll speak with him about what he believes we can all do to stop this. And, of course, we will be watching Game 5 along with everyone else, and Olivia O'Malley will have a live report after the game on our late show. So go Habs go. I got the flag up again. Oh, that side. Everything's reversed in TV. Got the flag up because we had it up last time, Maya, and we won. So I'm sticking with it.
Okay, here's hoping. We want to get that series lead. Thanks, Caroline.
Thank you.
Finally for us tonight, a 96-year-old woman and a dog named Chewbacca make the perfect gardening team. Here's Danny New.
My song! As we know, Chewbacca is quite the dependable co-pilot in Star Wars.
I'm here and Jake.
But for 96-year-old Barbara Collins, her granddaughter's dog Chewbacca is the perfect co-pilot in gardening.
It's really my dog. I hope she knows that she realizes it's my dog.
I don't want to say it, but it's true.
Barbara lives next door to Amy and her family's North Carolina home, and over the past few weeks,
Right here.
millions online have been blown away by Chewy's ability to follow Barb's digging instructions when planting flowers.
Barbara, were you surprised when you did the first cane poke and he started digging for you?
No, because I figured he was going to do it. I just poked my cane there and some on Chewy's, dig, and he did.
Of course, this connection makes a little more sense when you see this now 4-year-old Newfoundland on Barb's lap as a puppy.
He was always really gentle with her from the very beginning, which was very weird for like Newfie puppies. They can be like bulls in a china shop.
He likes the rain.
He needs to be covered.
Now they go on walks together, they watch the sunset together.
Could be twins, Chewy.
And Barb even sews outfits for Chewy, such as matching pajamas and an Easter Bunny costume. And when I asked Barb if having all these hobbies like gardening and sewing was the secret to her longevity, she said only partially.
I also think it's very important to love. And I think we love each other. I love Chewy, he loves me. What good is it if you don't love each other?
That is such a sweet story.
That got me in my feelings.
and Chewy doesn't mind the rain.
I saw that.
I hope I hope our viewers and our listeners don't mind the rain because there's more coming.
That's right. We could see anywhere between 10 to 20 millimeters overnight, an additional 2 tomorrow. Here's what else we're forecasting overnight. A fairly mild overnight low of 9 degrees, and we will be dealing with winds coming from the southeast gusting up to 40 kilometers an hour. They will increase in the early morning hours up to 50. We see an additional 2 millimeters of rain tomorrow, hitting a daytime high of 11 degrees. It looks like the afternoon will be cloudy, but Friday will bring some sunshine, so there's some good news.
Thanks, Lauren, and thank you all for tuning in as always, and we hope you'll join us again tomorrow. Have a good evening.